We initially planned to make perhaps 7 short films in just 20 days, but this number soon increased to 9, then to 11 films. We never guessed it would be as tough as it turned out to be, and, to say the least, the weather didn't help. It was an exhausting 3 weeks of non-stop work. We'd already shot film number 2, which outlines the 16 key factors, at our own Comsburg Wilderness Nature Reserve in October. For most of the films, we decided on lesser-known locations in southwestern United States of America. Unfortunately, human overpopulation and mass tourism is nowadays spoiling many national parks, with any sense of wilderness being lost. So Ian came up with a short list of places which are rarely visited, yet have stunning natural landscapes. The exception to this was Sequoia National Park, plus Las Vegas. The weather was extreme for the second half of November and first week of December, with the US having its coldest November on record. An unusual weather pattern caused 5 storms, one after the other. Some places saw snowfall up to 76 centimetres deep. We had howling winds as high as 90 miles an hour, and there was a lot of rain. As one American put it, winters arrived hard and fast. I decided not to do the accent. As a consequence of the disruptive weather, we ended up driving 5,000 miles as we frequently rerouted, doing our best to keep away from the worst of these storms. We were usually filming in sub-zero temperatures, down to minus 12 degrees centigrade, not including the wind chill factor. It was seriously unpleasant and frequently grim. If you've noticed my red nose in a number of the films, you'll now understand why. The heavy rain or snow meant slippery and sometimes treacherous off-road driving conditions. If you didn't concentrate, you'd get stuck. We had to drive into, along and out of this stretch of river 4 times in 24 hours to make one film. And I hope you've noticed the floating ice. In addition to the weather, filming outdoors in a remote location had several other challenges, one of which was the frequent disruption of aeroplanes flying overhead. In the US, even when you're well away from population centres, it's surprising how many aircraft fly above you hour after hour. We had to halt filming until the noise had passed, which drained batteries and wasted a lot of time. It's an aeroplane. 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 Of course, I fluffed my lines on countless occasions. No, I've done that wrong. Sorry. You need to understand what's what, particularly, especially. Yes, you're excited about the possibility of avoidance is the root cause of emotional irration. It's learnt in childhood, then, when I've fluffed it a bit there. Someone has to step up initially. Initially step up. I've gone blank. After filming was finished, we'd often have several hours of driving to get to that night's accommodation so as to be in the best position for the next day. Ian then had 3 hours of recharging batteries, downloading data and sorting notes to do each evening, albeit in a warm motel room. It was full on, non-stop, and we got very little sleep at times. One day was always going to be especially physically challenging. We had to walk down through a canyon river for 9 or 10 miles and then back again. We started walking in the dark an hour before sunrise, and it ended 12.5 hours later, 2 hours after sunset. It was so cold that ice formed on the edges of the fast-flowing muddy river. We were frequently wading through icy water up to the top of our thighs.
I hope you've noticed the line on my leg where the water comes up to.
The saying of the day was, "We're doing it." Patches of quicksand under the water made it even tougher. I was carrying a lot of heavy filming equipment, and Ian, now in his early 60s, has a rare form of muscular dystrophy, which doesn't help. Not surprisingly, there was no one else there. It was extremely grim, but we did it, and we got the footage for another film.
So that's a wrap. We've now got 4 hours of walking back upriver, quicksand underneath the freezing water, and we won't arrive back till after dark.
At 1 week into the trip, we wondered if we'd managed to get even 7 or 8 films done, let alone 11. Bad weather kept hammering our plans, but one of our 16 key factors is never give up, and we eventually succeeded. In fact, near to the end, we had to quickly write an additional script, and we shot a 12th film. So it actually ended up as 12 films in 20 days, one more than our ambitious target.
Fight for what's most important. Persevere. Learn to struggle. Keep pushing and pushing and pushing. If necessary, just keep going. Never give up.
Be prepared is another of our key factors, and this was also essential to the outcome, as we'd really done our homework beforehand.